just coming at you with a quick little video on raids. I did post one yesterday, and unfortunately, for whatever reason, that one is just slightly too long to upload to YouTube. So this one is going to be just slightly shorter. Might end up being a two-parter, just so I can get it all on there. But if you did watch yesterday's video, this one will be very repetitive. Just kind of talking the basics of raids, what you should be doing. Mainly, this is going to apply to a lot of our weaker members, but as you'll see here, we do currently have an Ultimus raid going. As I've mentioned in some previous videos, my total collection power, obviously very low, 55,000, or 55k rather. Um, so still pretty on the weaker side of things. You look at the Alliance members and total collection power, I am dead last, so literally the weakest member in the Alliance. So just kind of showing you guys my thoughts and philosophies on what I do for raids. There's a number of reasons why it's important to use your entire roster with the raid fights. The main reason is it's going to get you participation points towards the weekly milestone event, which is going to give everyone in the Alliance a bunch of rewards. The other precursor to getting into the raids is making sure that you are contributing these raid keys on a daily basis. 600 credits is what everyone is able to donate for both Ultimus and the Greek raids. As you can kind of go in and see, I have already done that today. And I do have a video discussing ways to go about that. Real easy to hit 600. Really, it's not a complicated process, but there is a video on that. It's just the Pantheon Daily Alliance play video, and feel free to check that out. So, a quick thing about raids, you do get these raid credits, which are good to use in the raid store. As I've talked about in previous videos, I like to go the raid orb option. That's going to give you the most bang for your buck. It'll get you a bunch of character shards, which will help you unlock all the characters that are in the raid store. Um, and if you want to know more about that, that is in my new player guide, so feel free to check that out as well. Going into these raids, the higher raids are going to be broken up into 3 teams, all that are allowed to have 8 members. So simple math, 24 people total can participate in a raid, which is everyone in the alliance. As one of the as the weakest member in the alliance, I'm going to look for a raid that has a lot of slots open, which in this case, all of them do, as this raid just launched. So I'm just going to go over here and pick one that probably is actually doing a little bit better number-wise, just because I'm not going to be able to do too much in the actual raid node. With my power, I might be able to clear one node, maybe one and a half if I'm lucky. With talking with the Alliance leadership, they're wanting the weaker members to go into the center nodes. So if you are a weaker player, go in the center, kind of team up with someone else. If you are one of the stronger players, you are going to want to take your own lane. So try not to overlap on each other. So if I was a higher level player, I wouldn't jump in here behind Octopod and just start this node right here. I'd want to actually start down here and start with this node. And while this is eventually going to converge with Octopod, the idea is you want to be able to clear as many nodes as possible. Clearing these nodes gets us to the percentages. Basically, where Octopod is right now, if the Alliance clears all of these nodes on pretty much all of the other 2 teams, that'll get you 30%. This second bar right here will get you to 60%, and then obviously the whole field would have to be cleared to get you to 100%. This is obviously going to change. If one team gets all the way to 100 and another team only gets to 60, and the last team gets to 30, you're probably going to average out somewhere in the 60% range. With that being said, I'm going to just go in here. As I said, I am the literal weakest member in the alliance, so I'm going to hop into one of these middle nodes. I'm going to join. Now, the concept behind this, especially for the much weaker members, is you really just want to go through your whole roster and try to clear as much as you can, obviously. But if your, maybe top two teams get wiped out and the rest of your roster is kind of just very, squishy and not able to do much, you're still going to want to go in and do those fights just because it is going to, as I've previously said, it is going to get you participation points, and those participation points are going to help the Alliance in general with those weekly milestones. Currently, Emma Frost is part of the rewards for those weekly milestones. So the more raid fights you do, the more points you get, which gives us a higher milestone goal. Um, so looking at this, I'm just going to kind of go in. I'm going to try to, take out this node. We'll see how I do. And then it just kind of becomes a rinse, wash, and repeat. Alliance raids are rewarded in a point system. So basically, there are tiers. There's a 30% tier, a 60% tier, and a 100% tier. Based off of those tiers, there are rewards, and then you're going to get those rewards based off of how much damage you do. Um, Now, the reason I say it's just important to just get in there and do what you can, even if you are scoring very dead last, you are still going to get rewards. The way the reward system is broken down is everyone in the alliance gets something, and there's not this huge gap between what rewards you do get. So yes, you will get, obviously more uh, resources if you're placing first or second. It's not going to be this huge gap between first and second and last place. So everyone does get rewards for participation. Um, and overall, these rewards are just going to help us grow as an alliance, and they're also going to help you grow as an individual player. Now, as you saw there, I was able to take out, half of that node. Like I said, I am the weakest member. I currently have a roster, I think, of about 25 characters. So in theory, I can do a bare minimum of 5 raid fights per raid. Now, if you do have a stronger roster, and you're able to clear a node or two, this is just going to increase the amount of raid fights you can actually do in the course of the actual raid running. The raid is going to run for about 24 hours, so if you use all of your 5 fights, it does take approximately 12 hours for your raid energy to refresh back to full. Um, and once that does happen, if you do have a roster remaining, you can go back in there and do additional fights. This is certainly going to apply to our stronger members and for players that do have a slightly stronger roster than I do. But again, the overall goal, you want to go in and try to clear as many nodes as you can. Once you get to the point where your teams are just kind of wiping, you can kind of just go in there, and at that point, you can kind of auto them just to get the raid participation points. Um, as you're going to see, I don't think I'm going to be able to clear this node with my second team. And, while this can be a little discouraging for some of the new players, I know you want to be able to like clear as many nodes as possible. It's kind of just all about a time thing, and eventually you're going to get there. This account is only 11 days old at this point, and when we first started running raids, I couldn't even clear a single node. I've gotten to the point now where I think I should be able to at least clear one node. So I have made progress, obviously, in that 10 days. And as you start to build progress, it's going to be just this steady climb, and you're going to get to the point where, you're eventually just going to have one whole team that will basically clear all these nodes for you. Um, and it's just really, it's a time process, and eventually you'll build up to that and you'll get there. Um, but you just kind of keep putting through it, and don't get discouraged that maybe aren't able to clear a node, or if you get stuck on a node. Eventually you're going to get to that point where you can clear through these things. And this is pretty similar for both the Ultimus raids and the Greek nodes, or the Greek raids rather. So as you did see, I was able to clear that. So I actually should be able to manage a minimum of 6 fights for this raid. I'm just going to kind of skip out of here for just a second and go into that reward system. We are currently hitting 60% on these ultimate raids. So you can just kind of see the reward system, and even if I place dead last, I am still getting close to the same resources as everyone else in the Alliance, kind of straight across. And like I said, these resources are going to help you build the roster. And when you start getting to the purple gear point in the game, having a bunch of purple gear already stockpiled is going to help you build those characters even faster. Um, that's going to be pretty much it for this raid video. I'm going to go in here off camera and do my last couple fights. They're basically just going to be pretty quick wipes, so I'm not going to record that. But again, if you guys have any additional questions about raiding, feel free to reach out to me on Discord at Khaleesi, in-game mini call. And as always, you can look to your Alliance leadership for any questions, comments, or concerns. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see any specific content, just please let me know. Hope you have a good day and hope you found this video helpful.